what's your first reaction to Greg Berhalter getting rehired as the national team coach?
Well, I think it's something to build off of. Um, he built a culture, a team, a group of young players that have now matured, and you can see that in our game against Mexico yesterday. So happy for Greg. I think he is a coach that always tries to get better, um, always expects a lot out of you, both on the training ground and during games. And I think he'll continue to push the limits of these guys moving forward. So I think Greg, look, it took a long time to get Greg back into the mix, and U.S. Soccer, I'm sure has you know their reasonings. But now that we have a coach, we have to look forward and continue to build off what we did in the past.
Did you get a sense that he was in, like, I don't know, were the players very aware of the interview process, and did you have any sense that he was this, that he was likely to come back?
No, no, we were completely in the dark. At least I was. Maybe some key players were involved. I'm not sure, but um, but look, I know what happened at the World Cup. There was an investigation. I'm sure they looked into to other coaches as well. I'm sure it was a process. And look, all I can say as a player is I'm excited that we have our coach, and hopefully we can continue to get better as a nation, and with all that support, because yesterday was a great example of what we can do on a nightly basis.
He's not going to be the coach during the Gold Cup, but does it change the way you approach? Like, does that change sort of the player mentality going to that, as opposed to playing for essentially an interim coach, but knowing that they've already hired the head coach?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think for us, that culture that I talked about, that Greg has kind of established, carried on into this year, even without him. And we had two interim coaches that also kind of had the same philosophy as Greg. So I don't think anything changes from our part. I know that we expect a lot from us, and I think that's the standards that we have there now. And we have to go there and win that Gold Cup title, because those are the expectations that we have within ourselves.
How important is it? You talked about continuity and getting better. Just now that the team, the whole U.S. team has a lot of success, how important is continual growth? And now that you kind of got a target on your back with the World Cup as your end goal.
Yeah, of course, right? I think now that you have the foundation set, established, with a great culture, uh, with guys that are bought in, this is your time to kind of uh, continue to set those standards and continue to get better every day as a group, um, and continue to build off that chemistry that we had. So this is a great time, I think, for U.S. Soccer. Obviously, we have Gold Cup coming up, Nations League final, Copa America, and we need to do well in those tournaments now that we consider ourselves one of the best in CONCACAF, and I think other teams believe that as well.
I don't know the whole selection process and all the tournaments you name, but how much do you just stay focused on getting better individually in whatever roster you get put on, try to build chemistry and excel as a group?
Yeah, I think every roster is different, and your role is different in every camp. In this camp, right, we have a lot of young guys, and I think we have a core, maybe 8, 9 guys that have been part of the group over the last 4 or 5 years. So my role might be different, where I might be playing in games, and how can I help the group move forward with the system, or I might still be in a reserve role, and I have to accept that, but also compete on a day-to-day basis. So every role is different, and my expectation is to always go out there and work hard, and focus on what I could do to help the team.
Just takeaways from last night, not individual players, but just the atmosphere, and obviously the unfortunate thing towards the end there. What are your thoughts on that? Because you're standing for diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, I think the atmosphere is great. It's unfortunate that we had all the drama, and we had to end the game early. But I think the U.S. played extremely well. I think we dominated the game. I felt that we played with a lot of confidence, and we need to build off that. And Canada's not going to be easy in the final. They're a strong young group that has a great culture in their locker room as well. So it's going to be a tougher game for sure.
What was your
last couple for Cristian, guys?
What was your perspective on getting called in? And as far as we know, you're gonna miss the LAFC match, right?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that I'm missing quite a few games, but look, for me, there's so much pride to get called up with the national team. Anytime you get that chance, you can't take it for granted, and so that's when it becomes tough, because I've missed so many games, and I'm just come back from injury, so it becomes a difficult decision, and then for me, look, I wish I could be here, and I'm thankful that I'm getting another call up, and I know the guys are going to hold it down while we're gone.
Does that, are you involved in that decision-making process of whether or not you get called in, or is that something that ends up being taken care of behind the scenes, that you're just sort of like, look, I'll go wherever you tell me to go?
Yeah. No, I'm a player, right? I'm a professional soccer player that gets told where to be at what time. And if I continue to play well, I'll be told where to be by the U.S. national team more times than not. And then it's also about the when I get called in. Is it during an international window, or is it just a friendly where I miss a game and maybe I stay back? So it really comes down to the international window and whether I have a say or not, unfortunately.
On the concussion,
Last one for Cristian, guys.
I know it's beyond and everything else. Was there anything that they said, okay, moving forward, do this or not, or is it just one of those injuries you're done?
Kind of an injury that I'm kind of done with. I still have neck stiffness, which is normal because I had whiplash, and so tension headaches are possible. Where I can get headaches here and there because of how bad my neck injury was. It can almost mimic the same concussion symptoms that I had been having, but thankfully I'm symptom free, and hopefully it continues that way.